Thank you all for coming. First of all, I want to do my best to put an exclamation point on a really big story that in my opinion, we can't talk about enough as a society. We thwarted a diabolical plot to kill many churchgoers yesterday in Haymarket, Prince William County, Virginia. I've been in the National Capital Region, the DMV, for over 3 decades policing, and I've never been more proud of the coordination and the collaboration that occurred yesterday on Sunday, September 24th, between the Anne Arundel County Police Department, the Prince William County Police Department, and the Fairfax County Police Department. We drew this up, we executed it rather, just like it was drawn up in the huddle. If at any given time yesterday, one person dropped the ball or didn't make a timely notification or didn't take this seriously, I think we'd be looking at yesterday with nothing but thoughts and prayers today on Monday. And we're not having that thoughts and prayers press conference today because a bunch of cops and detectives, again from Anne Arundel County, Fairfax County, and Prince William County, believed what they were seeing. It all started in Anne Arundel County when a person observed some social media posts. I believe they were Instagram posts by a person known to her. She was concerned about the nature of these posts because they were threatening, and they seemed to suggest that harm was going to be done at a church in Virginia. She knew that this person lived in Fairfax County, so Anne Arundel County immediately contacted Fairfax County. We went to his residence in the Bailey's Crossroads community to check on the welfare, knocked on the door, no answer. We looked for his car in the parking lot, couldn't find the car. And we knew yesterday morning, like every Sunday morning, is a time when our community goes to church. And thanks to the coordination and the information that Anne Arundel County Police Department got, we knew what church we believed he was heading to. So a really bright lieutenant for Fairfax County immediately contacted Prince William County. They responded to the church right away. In fact, they had a police officer, a Prince William County police officer, who was working secondary employment at the church, so he was there already. They identified the person of interest, made contact with him, and I believe the vestibule of the church. The congregation, my understanding is, had already made their way into the church for the Sunday service. They identified him, approached him, and recovered from his person a loaded semi-automatic pistol with an additional magazine. We went to work immediately with Prince William County. It's their case, and it was their criminal charges that resulted in this person, Rui Jiang, being held on a no bond status in Prince William County. But we executed a search warrant at his residence in Fairfax County and found a kill manifesto, the likes of which I've never read. It's disturbing. It now sits as a piece of evidence in what will immediately be a local prosecution, but I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies and our U.S. Attorney's Office weren't interested in adopting this case as well. Everything worked yesterday exactly how our community expects it to work. And instead of lamenting that we knew this was coming with this person, Rui Jiang, instead of saying, we wish we would have done something when we saw the signs and saw the social media posts, now we're left of boom for once. And it feels good to be left of boom. It feels good to announce a prevention. It feels good to announce something that didn't occur that really, in my opinion, would have resulted in the loss of life. That would have been an international story. So I think it's a Monday, and all of our lives move so quickly, the news moves so quickly, and it's more than just a see something, say something story. Yes, that did occur, the see something, say something occurred, but the way 3 law enforcement agencies worked together in real time to run this guy down and put our hands on him before he killed many, many people is something that I think our collective National Capital Region DMV community should be proud of.
One question, Chief, you can look straight when you answer it. How does this make you feel? Describe your emotions when you look at this situation.
So really, when I'm getting real-time notifications about what's going on yesterday, I'm just hopeful that it all comes together. You know, I served as police chief in Anne Arundel County, Maryland about a decade ago, so I know that organization, certainly know Fairfax and Prince William County well. You just hope that all the right people are in place doing all the right things in real time to get our hands on this person who is actively pursuing a massacre. And you know, by the time his kill manifesto becomes public down the road, I think you'll all see that he had means, he had intent, and he spent some time at that church earlier in the morning before he went back to his Bailey Crossroads residence and then went back to the church. So he staked it out. He told us in writing what he intended to do. He was armed. He arrived at the church with a mission. And the good guys prevailed this time around. We captured him before he was able to take many, many lives, in my opinion.
At the church?
At the church. The vestibule of the church.
How do you as a police department prevent things like this? I know you said, you all work together, you all collaborated really well with this. But I mean, let's just say this was just isolated to Fairfax County. How do you essentially approach a situation like this single-handedly, so to speak?
Well, there's a new discipline in policing called threat assessment management. And threat assessment management is a preventive way to identify people who tell us. And they say it out loud. And they say it out loud on social media. They say it in terms of graffiti. They tell their friends that they intend to harm or kill others. And when we get that information, it's the community's expectation that we act on it. Now, acting on information like that doesn't always mean a pair of handcuffs. It doesn't always mean a criminal investigation. It might mean getting the right mental and behavioral health services to a person, or otherwise intervening with co-responder teams and other behavioral assessment teams to interrupt someone's thought process. A lot of times, these folks are both homicidal and suicidal, and I believe that Rui Jiang was absolutely both homicidal yesterday and suicidal, and we put our hands on him literally in the nick of time.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
You mentioned you've read the manifesto. I know some of this stuff defies logic, it defies rationale, but from what you've seen, any explanation for why this church? Why was he targeting this particular church?
Yeah, I have to be careful not to characterize the manifesto because it is being treated as evidence, and it will either be prosecuted locally or federally. But I did read it. It's a very detailed one-page manifesto that very systematically and logically identifies his grievance with the government, identifies his intent to harm and kill, and identifies his own desire to end his life. It was eerie. It was eerie.
Any explanation for why that church, out of all places? Again, I know you can't really.
Yeah, he made some references in his kill manifesto about why he selected that church, but he also articulated that he didn't know anyone at that church. He articulated that his would-be victims, and he put it out there. He knew he was going to take many lives yesterday, and he also said that I don't know any of them. So it was one of the eeriest things I've ever read.
So you believe this would have been relatively random in a sense, like there was no reason he targeted this church, it could have been any church?
Based on the limited information that I have now, I'm sure as the investigation unfolds, Prince William County is the lead right now. We're assisting them with our threat assessment management team, and before too long, if not already, the FBI will want to check this out in the U.S. Attorney's Office.
I know this is more a Prince William County question, but do you have a message for the people that attend this church? I know this church is about to celebrate their 20th anniversary. They have services this weekend. What do you think those people should know, especially if they're scared after hearing about this?
Well, go to church. Go to church on the 20th anniversary. Go to church every Sunday. But celebrate this. Don't celebrate it in a joyous way necessarily, but celebrate the fact that it worked the way we expect it to work. When law enforcement gets our hands on information that raises the hair on the back of our necks, we have to act on it. And yesterday, not only did Prince William County act on it and make a courageous apprehension in the vestibule of this church, but it all started in Anne Arundel County. Anne Arundel County did the right thing, Fairfax did the right thing, Prince William did the right thing, all within a couple of hours. So imagine that happening on a Sunday. And these are cops, detectives, and mid-level supervisors making this happen. And it was just a proud moment.
Are you collaborating at all with your local churches at all? I mean, I know you all get sick all the time.
Yeah.
I know not necessarily things like this happen all the time, but are you kind of like working with, your local churches? I know there's plenty of them in the area.
Yep.
As far as safety. When things
Yeah.
like this occur.
We routinely do, and we provide safety seminars. We provide walkthroughs for churches and for synagogues and for mosques. I've been here for 2.5 years, and I've lost track how many churches, synagogues, and mosques that I've personally visited. But we have a responsibility to ensure that we communicate best practices to these places of worship, and it's a place where people gather. And in 2023, we should all be concerned and think about places where people gather, whether it's churches or malls or public venues. So we're proud of the fact, and I'm sure Prince William County does it and Anne Arundel County does it as well, but the relationship with the faith community is strong.
Can you elaborate on the Instagram posts and what kind of rang the alarm for you guys to reach such a level of urgency?
So I think we'll probably share or direct you to those Instagram posts. So the person who was alarmed by the Instagram post was the person in Anne Arundel County, because she knew of this person who was posting on Instagram, and what she saw concerned her enough to call the Anne Arundel County Police Department and say, hey, I think something really bad is going to happen. And she said, this is why I think it. So Anne Arundel County took that seriously. Now, Anne Arundel County could have just reduced that to a report and given her a set of case numbers and gone about their Sunday, but they didn't. They followed their intuition and their hunch that they better notify Fairfax County, because they knew he lived in Bailey's Crossroads. And when we knocked on his door and when we couldn't find his car and it's Sunday morning and it looks like he's about to go do what he said he was going to do, that's when one of our lieutenants, Lieutenant Bish, contacted the Prince William County Police Department. And by good fortune, not only did they immediately dispatch their police officers to the church, but luckily a off-duty Prince William County police officer was working secondary employment at the church. So when he heard the call go out, he immediately went into the vestibule of the church, saw him, put his hands on him, and recovered the gun and the extra magazine.
So did it say in his Instagram post his manifesto, or was that something you found?
So the manifesto was found during the execution of the search warrant at his home. He left it there in a very visible place where he knew law enforcement likely was going to find it. Yes,
So
sir.
you mentioned this is more than see something, say something. Your message to that woman who first made the call to Anne Arundel PD,
Yeah.
or just other members in the community who, may be on the fence about speaking up if they
Right.
do see something that concerns them.
Right. Well, she started it all. Without her, none of these things happen, and we could be talking about something entirely different as a region and a country today. This was a thwarted, diabolical plot to kill churchgoers in Haymarket, Virginia, and local law enforcement stopped it before it happened. So when you see, I hope people, when they hear about this story and see it and take some time to pay attention to it, follow your gut, follow your intuition, follow your sixth sense. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Not to make light of it, but notify the police. Let us check it out. And yesterday, the cops, the good guys yesterday, really followed their sixth sense and their intuition. They didn't let it go until we had a safe resolution.
Do you feel like, Chief, that this was a really isolated incident as far as him by himself? This wasn't like a piece of potentially something bigger or a connection to
Yeah.
something bigger or other people?
I think preliminarily, and again, Prince William County has the investigation, but there's no immediate or preliminary indication that this was anything else but this lone actor, Rui Jiang, acting on his own.
And just in your experience, how close were we to something different?
Minutes. Yeah, the congregation was making their way into the church. He was in the vestibule of the church, about to enter. We knew what he looked like. We approached him right away, took him into custody, recovered his firearm, and he had an additional magazine on his person as well. So minutes or seconds away. Again, this is remarkable, and I think because something doesn't happen, we tend to brush by these things quickly. You know, how do you measure something that doesn't happen? That's always the thing that police departments struggle with. But it didn't happen, and it didn't happen because of a lot of good work that started with the Good Samaritan in Anne Arundel County.
And you believe that Fairfax County did not get involved the way it did, then this could be have been the worst.
I think all the players are equal. You know, Anne Arundel started it, they handed it off to us, and then we threw a pass to Prince William County, and they caught it, and they took it right in the end zone with it, and identified a person who really was going to become, and I believe this, America's latest version of a mass killer.
How many people, in your opinion, could he have killed if had this went down?
So he had a loaded semi-automatic firearm. I'm not sure how many rounds were in that magazine, but typically a semi-automatic pistol will hold anywhere between 7 and 18 rounds. And then he had an additional round. I'm not sure how many rounds were in that, but a bullet a person is the maximum amount of damage.
Did he have any type of body armor on him or anything?
I don't believe he did.
Okay, but
No.
just the knife and,
He did have a knife and another device that served as a knife. I'm not too sure. So, and again, I know you all have had conversations with Prince William County. Certainly, Anne Arundel County deserves a lot of credit for this as well. But to see all three kind of come together was really gratifying.
anything else you'd like us to know about this?
Or like where you want the public to know?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we covered it all. You know, I think it's the difference between a 15-second story and an all-day story, and it seems like nowadays there's nothing in between. but I think this story is something worth pausing on. So, okay, yeah,
Thanks, Chief.
thanks.